Hello, my friends. My name is Garcian de Cruz, and I am a USPTA certified tennis professional at the Southern Village Club here in Chapel Hill. I'm excited to bring you some tennis strategy and analysis online due to our current situation with the coronavirus. I hope everyone is staying safe and healthy. In today's video, we will analyze some simple baseline strategies and how they are being used at the highest levels of the game to win easy points by creating space and opportunity. We will also be learning how to simplify the baseline game so that you can employ these strategies to your own game, as well as recognize them being used by your opponents. Modern-day tennis has converted itself into a very baseline style game. This didn't always used to be the case. The serve and volley was a big part of tennis strategy early on, but has since died out in favor of what we call now as the baseliners. These are players that prefer to stay and win points on the baseline and rarely make an effort to advance up to the net unless needed. Some of the great baseliners in modern tennis include Serena Williams, Garbiñe Muguruza, Naomi Osaka, and Caroline Wozniacki. The appropriate ATP comparison would be someone like Rafael Nadal or Novak Djokovic. Most of these players usually tend to play defense and convert it into offense. Baseline tennis is often considered the more brutal form of tennis, as it requires a lot more energy, force, and time than someone who likes to finish points early with the serve and volley play or the serve +1 plays that we learned in the previous video. If you want a refresher on that video, it will be in the description below. However, the main upside is that there are less risks in staying on the baseline and playing defense than attempting to be on the constant attack or employ serve +1 strategies. This is why many players like to stay on the baseline. One of the things we need to look at when discussing baseline strategies is the main objectives. What is it that you'd like to accomplish from the baseline, and how will you do so? In order to look at this and analyze it, I'm going to break down the two main types of baseline strategies. The first baseline strategy is the defensive strategy. Often known as a counterpuncher, a defensive baseliner is someone who tries to run down every single ball and relies on their opponent to make a mistake. Usually players who face this type of strategy will get frustrated and attempt to make high-risk plays, resulting in higher errors. Defensive players are usually good at anticipating their opponent's moves and also possess lethal passing shots in order to turn defense into offense quickly and effectively.
Great lob from Wozniacki.
A great example of a defensive baseliner is Caroline Wozniacki. Wozniacki moves her opponent around the court without going for high-risk winners. While on defense, she gets every ball back and constantly mixes up the pace to frustrate her opponents. While they tend to make relatively few errors because they do not attempt the complicated and ambitious shots of the offensive baseliner, the effective counterpuncher must be able to periodically execute an aggressive shot, either using the pace given by their opponent or using precision and angle. Speed and agility are key for the counterpuncher, as well as the willingness to patiently chase down every ball to frustrate opponents. Returning every aggressive shot that the opponent provides is often the cause of further errors due to the effort required in trying increasingly harder and better shots. We are now going to take a look at some points at face value and then go back and analyze the decisions made by former world number 1 and Grand Slam champion Caroline Wozniacki. Now let's take a second to rewind and break down this point to further analyze what led to this result. Right here, Wozniacki understands that she is out of position and on her back foot. In order to buy herself more time to get back into position, she hits a very safe but high defensive lob. This, like in a chess game, will force her opponent to start a different strategy. At this moment, Wozniacki's opponent shows her hand by going very aggressive with a low and accurate cross-court backhand, forcing Wozniacki to run. Although this is a great shot selection, it allows a player like Wozniacki to make a calculated guess as to what the play is. And in understanding what the play will most likely be, Wozniacki can be seen looking up at her opponent to determine where her opponent is on the court. Assuming her opponent is sticking to the aggressive strategy, the next most likely place for her opponent to hit is into the open court. In this moment, Wozniacki wins the point. Of course, she actually has to hit the next shot, but her ability to recognize what is coming is why she is often superior in the mental battle against her opponents. Before this shot is actually hit, Wozniacki is already beginning to run to the open court. This allows her to beat the double bounce and have enough time to hit a great cross-court winner.
Oh, that is outstanding!
Out of that long game, and that's what tennis is about. You have to give credit to your opponent at times, sometimes too.
Here we see how Wozniacki always has her head up watching her opponent after every shot to continuously calculate the most likely plays her opponent will make. A big part of being a good defensive player is changing the pace of the shots as well as the spins. Imagine how frustrating it would be for your opponent if they are slapping every shot back at you and you are sending them angled topspin forehands, high-arcing lobs, or low and slow slices. This is a great way to make your opponent start to rush their original plan. This next shot is where the rest of this point unfolds. We are about to see an aggressive cross-court forehand that is mixed in with a little bit of risk-taking due to impatient frustration by an offensive player. Again, we see Wozniacki's ability to anticipate the next shot and make an incredible play.
Sensational!
Now we are going to shift and take a look at the other baseline strategy, which is the offensive strategy. The offensive strategy is definitely the more common type of strategy, and it can be seen commonly on both the WTA and the ATP tours. Offensive baseliners focus primarily on producing high-paced, high-powered shots from the baseline. These types of players are always looking for openings to hit winners and are hitting high-powered shots to force a poor shot from their opponent, allowing them to step in and crank out a winner. The offensive style of play requires players to have high stamina and very good timing. The lack of either can cause errors. This is also why the offensive style of play results in many more errors than the defensive style. Although introduced into the WTA Tour by players like Steffi Graf and Monica Seles, some of the best offensive baseliners are players like Li Na, Serena Williams, Maria Sharapova, and Naomi Osaka. Many of the young, up-and-coming players on the WTA Tour are also offensive players, like Sofia Kenin, Coco Gauff, and Amanda Anisimova. We are now going to take a look at some points at face value and then go back and analyze the decisions made by some of the best offensive players on the WTA Tour.
Of serve. That's much better. Good first serve. Couple faults crept into her game. It's a good adjustment there.
Watch them both practice.
Now let's take a second to rewind and break down this point to further analyze what led to this result.
Stage of serve.
This is an interesting moment in the point, as Bianca Andreescu has to play a defensive shot from the baseline in order to buy herself time to get her feet set and go on the offensive. Right about here, Andreescu has made the decision to take the ball from the center and go for a winner or at least a powerful cross-court shot that will force an error from Serena.
That's much better. Good first serve.
Watch the slow motion replay and you can see how Andreescu gets her feet set and allows her legs and core, especially the twist of her core, to add power and direction to the ball.
Faults crept into her game. It's a good adjustment there.
Watch them both practice. Serena.
Right from the serve, Serena is going to be going into an offensive mode. She takes the backhand somewhat inside out and goes for an aggressive ball cross-court. Continuing with her aggressive play, Serena now goes for another cross-court shot to open up space by pushing Andreescu to the other side of the court. Again, Serena aggressively moves the ball into the open court. Go ahead and guess where this next ball is going to go. I trust you. Now, this is where Serena's genius shines through. As you might assume, Serena is about to go to the open court. Unfortunately for Andreescu, she is thinking the exact same thing. Remember what I said before. A defensive player makes a living by anticipating the next shot. However, if the offensive player is smart enough, they will be anticipating their opponent's mindset and attempt to change the narrative of the point. Now watch what happens when Andreescu incorrectly anticipates the next shot for the second shot in a row. Notice what direction Serena hits the shot and what direction Andreescu's body moves towards. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you were able to learn something new. Please like this video and subscribe for more just like it. If you have any content you think we should cover, let us know in the comments below. That's all for now. See you guys in the next one.